fellers, I guess it's that time again. So I got the truck pulled in the garage today, and surprisingly it does fit in here. I got like a little bit of space here, you know, from here to there. You know, the garage door is barely clearing. And today we are going to change the oil on this thing. This is really not that big of a truck. In this garage, man, it looks huge. We are on 35, so I mean, it is kind of off the ground a little bit. But anyway, if y'all want a video on that, how I've got 35s to fit on here with like a 2.5 inch lift, y'all let me know in the comments and I'll do a video on that. Okay, now I'm going to go over the tools needed for this job. A 3/8 drive ratchet. If y'all don't know what that is and you're like mentally challenged or something, a medium ratchet. I got a 12mm socket, a 14mm socket. If you have the TRD Pro skid plate, then I think you need Allen keys to take it off. Is some type of filter wrench. I'm using the Motiv X Tools one. It's made for the Toyota Tacoma. One way to drain the oil out of that housing. This is also from Motiv X Tools. See here the way this works. You screw it in there, and right now I got the valve open. You can see, so the oil will drain into that and come out of this line. The package that your filter came in will actually have one of those little tools in it. You know, you push that up in there and oil comes out of this. I don't like that because it gets all over you. That's why I choose to use the Motiv X Tools brand. A funnel. You'll need something to catch oil when it comes out. If you're afraid your little hands will get dirty, you'll need some gloves. Rain energy drink. Okay, I'm up under the truck now, and I'm gonna show y'all where these bolts are to take the skid plate off. There's one behind here. There's one behind here. You can locate them easy because they got these little tabs in front of them. And these are the ones you'll need the 12mm socket on. Two more in the back here. And you can spot these because there's an indention. There's one on each side. So I have the skid plate off. I'm gonna show y'all why you need to take that off. Let's roll up under here. Taking the skid plate off exposes where your oil filter is going to go. Now, we need to take the drain plug out. So if we move on back past the oil filter, you will come to a 14mm bolt. You'll need to take that out to drain your oil. So at this time, it'd be smart to get your catch pan and put it under here. And I might want to add too, if you roll back too far, you're going to see a much larger pan here that's exposed more. Do not take shit out of this because this is your transmission. If you take this loose, you're going to drain all your fluid out of your transmission. And I'm not sure if there's any way to actually put it back in. Like there's no dipstick for it or anything. So definitely leave that alone. Okay, before I crack that drain plug open, I'm going to pop the hood. Okay, you're going to reach in here. There's a little thing you'll feel. You know, it's right above the emblem. Move it over. Okay, next, we're going to crack this open. And what that is going to do is, you need this off anyway to put oil back in. But, you know, there's going to be air kind of coming down through here. And that'll kind of help you drain your oil out of the engine quicker. Okay, another thing that I might like to add, if you have this style catch pan like I do, make sure you take this out of there. Because if you don't, this is going to fill up and then oil is going to go everywhere. Or you're going to have to stick your hand down in oil fast enough to pull this out. And the only reason I know this is because I've done it. All right, y'all, I'm going to try to show y'all the best I can with one hand here. Okay, get your socket on there. And it'll take a little bit of force, not much, to break that loose. I already did that off camera. And now, as you can see, I got my catch pan laying here. I'm going to reach up here, start taking that off there. And once it comes out, hurry up and get your hand out of the way. So now, as you can see, our oil is just about done draining. You can see a little drizzle there. You know, if you're worried about that, you can go ahead and just let that, you know, drizzle on out. But after that, you're going to want to, you're going to take your drain plug, and if you have an extra crush washer, I'd go ahead and change the crush washer out. But it's okay to reuse one, you know, every now and then. And go ahead and plug that back up. Okay, so as y'all can see, I do have my drain plug back in. And all I did is just take it, put it in finger tight. If you can see here, get a little tight and just a hair more. That's plenty. Okay, next is your oil filter. A 3/8 drive extension will fit into this, or you can put your ratchet right up there to it. Loosen it up. Okay, just break that loose. Undo it by hand. Okay, next, this is where I'll be using my first item from Motiv X Tools, is the little drain for the oil filter. This should be how it looks like before you put this tool in there. So next, what you're going to want to do is thread this in there by hand. I can usually get it tight enough by hand. I don't have to, you know, put a crescent wrench or anything on here. Okay, now you see no oil's coming out right now. I'm going to take my pan here. Okay, you're going to route that hose into your pan. And then just screw this in there. It will expose that valve. And as you see, oil will start running out of there, away from you. It ain't all down your arm and on your chest and in your face. That's nice right there. I mean, if nothing else, this is definitely the best tool with the Motiv X tools here for sure. Okay, once you've given that time to drain, just go ahead and take that off there and show you what the next Motiv tool is. This is the filter wrench here. As you can tell, I've used this a bunch already. But this is milled out of a solid piece of aluminum. I mean, this is pretty high quality stuff here. And I'll go ahead and show you how good it fits. Okay, and here it is over top of the housing, and as you can see, it's a pretty snug fit. Put your 3/8 drive extension in here, pop this off. That thing is actually so tight on there, a lot of times I have to push this back, like, you know, have a couple threads of it still threaded in, and kind of wiggle it off. And the next step is you're going to want to take your old filter out of there. We're going to go ahead and take this and toss it. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to want to do here is, this thing has two little O-rings on it. And the first one, you know, I can usually peel it off my fingers. It does have a slot in it for a flathead to get under it, so you can take this one off. Okay, and the next little O-ring, I'm actually going to stuff a little bit of paper towel in here because I know there's still some oil in this. I didn't really let it drain out that well. So I just don't dump oil everywhere, but I'm gonna show y'all. Here is the other one that you're gonna want to take out. Okay, once you get that out, go ahead and remove your paper towel, if you did what I did. See, there was quite a bit of oil still in there. Now you're gonna wanna go ahead, and the package that your new filter came in should have this, a little bag with your new O-rings in it. You're going to fit this O-ring around there. Go ahead and work it down. And there is a spot that it belongs in. You can see it right here. A little groove that it goes in. You don't want to go past that groove because that's not where it belongs. And another way you can tell if you're in your right groove is above this groove, as you can see right here, there's a little spot you can put a flathead in to peel your O-ring off of there. And the next O-ring, it's a smaller one. I'm going to flip this over. And as you can see right there, there's a little groove that goes into. And it should fit in right there. And sometimes if that don't work, you might want to wait till you get this housing on there and then put the little O-ring in, and then hurry up and screw this up onto it. Okay, next thing you want to do is you're going to take your new cartridge filter out of the package. And this is the same both ways. There's no right or wrong way to do this. You're going to go ahead and just slide that on there. Make sure it snaps down. And that should be good and ready to put back on. Okay, next you want to go ahead and just thread that in there, hand tight. And be aware of your little O-ring there. Make sure it ain't getting bunched up as you do this. Because if that thing ain't sealed correctly, you'll have oil leaks. Get my Motiv X Tools little wrench here. Put that back on there. Go ahead and tighten that up. Okay, now the torque spec on this is pretty low. I can't remember exactly what it is. I'll look it up and tag it on here, but I usually just get it just good and snug with your wrench, and this should be plenty. Okay, next thing you're gonna want to do is look up there, make sure your O-ring ain't hanging out nowhere, everything's good and sealed, and make sure your O-ring is still in right here. You know, there's oil all over everything, so this is good and lubricated. Now you're gonna go ahead and take this piece, and you're gonna go ahead and thread that back on there. The torque spec on this is also low, so you don't have to go crazy on it. Just make sure your O-ring's on there and good. Go ahead and get it a couple little turns and make sure it's good and snug. And that should be plenty right there. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, if you're confident that you got your, everything back up the way it's supposed to be, if you got your drain plug in, and you got your oil filter, new oil filter and the housing and everything back on, we're going to go ahead and start putting oil back into the engine. Now, one of my favorite parts about the Motiv X tools is this funnel. It has threads on it, so when you take your cap off, which would be right here, it's to the right of the engine if you're looking at it. It has the same threads as your cap does. So this thread's on there, and it can't move. So you can put your oil in, and it's not going to tip over or fall over and oil get everywhere. You're not going to waste nothing. All right, guys, so the next thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and put oil back into it. Now, with a third Gen Tacoma, with the 3.5 liter V6, it's going to take 6.2 quarts. So I'm going to go ahead and put 6 of them in now. And guys, as you do this, it's a good idea to go back under the vehicle and make sure oil's not coming out nowhere. Hey guys, here on your last quart, like I said before, it takes 6.2. So what I'm going to do, so you got your lines here for everything, and this is 10, and that's full to the top right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it down to 8, and that should be enough. So as you can see, for once, I actually hit this perfect, so we should be good. So the next thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and take your funnel off and put your cap back on. Next thing you want to do is check again, make sure there's no leaks. Okay, so the next thing that I like to do is, I pull the dipstick out just to make sure there is enough oil in there, and it's always good to make sure. I know there is, but I like to start my engine, let it run for a couple minutes, turn it off, let everything settle down, and then check my dipstick and see where the fill line is. Okay guys, I let the truck run for a couple minutes. So now what we're going to do is check the dipstick to see if our oil line is okay. Now the dipstick, it's located right here where I'm pointing. You can't miss it. It's got a big yellow ring on it. And I like to have a rag or something. Go ahead and pull that out. Now the first time, I go ahead and wipe it off. And I stick it back down in there. Right through the hole it came out of. Make sure it's all the way down. Pull it out again and inspect it. As you can see here, I don't know if my camera's going to focus in on it. But yeah, here we go. There's 2 dots here. You know, you want it somewhere in between, you know, usually on the higher side. I know it's hard to see if 0W20 because it's so watery like, but the oil does go all the way across right here where my thumb's at, so we know we're good. Now let's put the dipstick back in. And we'll go ahead and hang the skid plate and put it back on there. And we'll call this a job well done. Okay, so next we're going to hang our skid plate back on here. And I hope I'm not in the way while trying to show you all this. Move this back real quick. Hopefully y'all can still see this. But there are tabs on either side here. You can see one of them right here. There's another one over here. And what you're going to do is there's holes in this skid plate where it hangs over. That's why I said we're going to hang the skid plate first. Make sure it catches on both sides here. And there it is. So all that's left to do is I like to start with one of the rear bolts that we took out earlier. And once I get under there, I'm going to push this up, get it lined up, screwed back in. And once this skid plate is on, this job is done. Okay, if you want to get rid of this message, I believe you're going to go to Settings. You're going to scroll over, down to Settings. Let's see here. Maintenance Reset. Hit that, reset the maintenance reminder. Yes. Maintenance reset complete. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. I hope y'all enjoyed it and maybe learned a little something here. But anyway, please like and subscribe. I got some more content coming up on the Tacoma. As you can see, we got the car back in the garage now. Got some more content coming up on it with the tuning and stuff and what you can do with boot mod. And anyway, I'll see y'all on the next one.